The government plans to tackle homelessness, and we speak to a coronavirus patient. But let's begin tonight with breaking news. New Zealand First Leader Winston Peters has said he was involved in having a photograph taken of journalists Guyon Espiner of Radio New Zealand and Matt Shand of Stuff, and of the former New Zealand First President Lester Gray. The photographs were then posted on a website which has been running stories defending New Zealand First and trying to belittle reporting about the New Zealand First Foundation donation scandal. When the photographs were raised with him by Peter Williams of Magic Talk Radio on Tuesday, Mr. Peters said, quote, "We took the photograph." We'll speak to Guyon Espiner shortly, but first, here is the audio of Mr. Peters speaking on Magic Talk. Winston Peters is talking to host Peter Williams about a breach of privacy and the release of party information.
It was a breach of the privacy laws of this country. It's a criminal offence, and we have already said we're going to put this in the hands of the police, and we are.
But the source of the story has been identified as Lester Gray, hasn't it? He's been pictured meeting with Guyon Espiner and with Matt Shand, so he's a former president of New Zealand First. Wouldn't he have obtained that information in the course of his role when he was the president of New Zealand First?
No, he couldn't have, legally. And the real point is, the foundation is a separate body. And can I just say this, the source that you say has not been identified, which in the Shand or the Espiner articles, paragraph or line says he's the source. The very reverse is going on here. They're denying it. But, you know, the forensic investigation on this is so easily capable of being traced that we're asking the police to do it.
Well, there's a photograph of Espiner with Lester Gray meeting in Tauranga, and then with Matt Shand coming to join them a few minutes later.
Yeah, I know. Look, Mr. Williams, I know that. We took the photograph. Just to prove that that's the kind of behaviour going on.
Now, let's just listen to that again.
Well, there's a photograph of Espiner with Lester Gray meeting in Tauranga, and then with Matt Shand coming to join them a few minutes later.
Yeah, I know. Look, Mr. Williams, I know that. We took the photograph. Just to prove that that's the kind of behaviour going on.
Well, joining me now live here in the studio is Guyon Espiner. Good evening, Guyon.
Kia ora.
Let's back things up a little bit. What does this photo show?
Well, there's a photograph of me and Lester Gray taken in Tauranga. And there's a short video as well. It's just a few seconds long, really. And there's also a photograph on that website of Matt Shand. And now Matt Shand has been doing a lot of reporting on the New Zealand First Foundation and about the donations that were received by the foundation and some of the activities that were going on there. Now, this photograph then was posted to a website called BFD and has been accompanied with stories belittling the reporting on that and very strongly defending New Zealand First.
And to put it into context for people, the man in the photos with you is related to New Zealand First in what way?
Well, it's the former president of the party, Lester Gray, who was publicly in the media at the time resigning from the New Zealand First Party as president because he said to the media at the time that he didn't have enough information to sign off on the financials, and he resigned, what is quite public now, from the party. And so this photograph shows me and Lester Gray outside a cafe, and then, as I say, it also shows a photograph of Matt Shand.
And so what do you now know about the origins of the photo?
Well, I was pretty surprised to hear just today, because I wasn't listening to the program at the time, but I just heard the audio today, to hear the Deputy Prime Minister of New Zealand say we took the photograph is pretty interesting to me, and I think will be interesting to others and as newsworthy. News to me that he was involved in this. I think it might provide some more context to this BFD website. As I say, It's been heavily defending New Zealand First. I traced the domain name of this. The technical contact email is andrea@whaleoil.org. .nz. Now, look, I don't know the exact links of this website. A lot of people might not have heard of it, BFD. And they have been running these stories supporting New Zealand First, but I was surprised to see that Mr. Peters saying publicly that he was involved in the taking of photographs and then the photographs then appearing on this website.
So, just to be clear, it's in essence a surveillance photo. You were unaware that you were being watched and being filmed.
I was absolutely unaware I was being photographed and being filmed, and I had no idea that I was being photographed and filmed. I wouldn't have raised it. I've known about this photograph for some time, for a week or so, a couple of weeks since it's been up, and I wouldn't have personally raised it. As I say, I was shocked actually to hear the Deputy Prime Minister of New Zealand, and I'll leave names out of this, right? I was shocked to hear the Deputy Prime Minister of New Zealand say, "We took the photograph."
Are you going to take it further? Can you take it to the Privacy Commissioner? Will you speak to the police? What happens now?
No, I won't. I'll leave that all of that stuff to others. And what I will do, and what Radio New Zealand will continue to do, is to report the facts soberly and meticulously. That's what we've been doing, and that's what we'll continue to do. I don't have any role in that, and I was actually a bit reluctant to come in here to talk about it because I don't want to be part of the story. But it was developing at a pace, and look, it is what it is. He said what he said. I'll leave that to others who have a role in this, and I'll try to stay out of it. What I will do is keep reporting on the foundation. That's what I will do, because I think there's more to discover there, there's more to report there, and I think there are matters in the public interest there. So I was hoping to stay out of this, but that hasn't been possible.
OK, well, now you are front and centre regardless. So when the Deputy Prime Minister of a country publicly states that he was involved in capturing surveillance footage and photographs of a journalist in their day-to-day job, are there questions that Mr. Peters now has to answer?
Oh, look, I think there are undoubtedly questions that media will want to put to Mr. Peters, and others may have questions as well. Given my role in this and the position I'm in, I'm going to leave that for others, not because I'm ducking stuff, but I just think it's my job to keep reporting on this rather than to offer opinions about what Mr. Peters has done. And I haven't done that tonight. I've said that I was shocked. I was personally shocked to hear him say that. In terms of his conduct, that's up to others to judge. I won't be making any judgment on that at all. I don't feel that that's my place to do so. I'll be reporting on the facts of the foundation.
Appreciate your time. That is investigative journalist Guyon Espiner. As you heard there, Winston Peters, well, he said on another radio station that we took the photograph in reference to the picture of Guyon Espiner speaking to a former president of New Zealand First, and also a photo of another journalist involved there as well. And in the past few minutes, we've spoken with Mr. Peters. He was about to board a plane and said he was unavailable for an interview. He told us he did not personally take the photo. We asked him what he was referring to when he said to Peter Williams, "We took the photo." He refused to answer those questions and the conversation ended. Checkpoint has asked the Prime Minister's office for comment, and they say it is a matter for New Zealand First.